Have you lived before? Hi, I'm Barb Angelo, and I've been doing past life regressions for over a decade. So the answer to that question for me is simple. Of course you have. If you're not sure, but you're curious about reincarnation, I've got the top 7 clues that I've learned over the years that might tell you something about your past lives. They're not in any order of importance. However, number 1 may surprise you. Let's get started. Number 7. Movies, television, and books. What you like to watch and what you like to read. Think of the movies, TV, books, and even articles that have made an impact on you. Were they from the past or another time period? Do you love old romance novels or spy thrillers from a different era? Do biographies or true accounts of historical figures intrigue you? Do TV shows like Outlander or movies like Saving Private Ryan, Selma, Gandhi, or even Titanic make you feel like you're really there? Now, you probably didn't go down with the Titanic in another life, but maybe there's just something about the clothing, the language, or that era that resonates with you. When my nephew was only 2 years old, he was obsessed with war movies. His favorites were Battle of the Bulge and Zulu, believe it or not. When he was just 4 years old, he told his family that he fought in a war in this country and wore a blue uniform. He also said he was the guy that carried the flag, not a gun. We were all trying to figure out how he knew this. When we looked it up, we found that during the Civil War, the men who carried the flag into battle were called color bearers or color guards. And no, they didn't carry guns. He's 19 now, and even though he likes law and order, he hates the idea of fighting. I guess war can do that to you. Number 6, culture. Do you strongly associate with a culture other than your own? Are your ancestors Irish, but your house is filled with African art or artifacts? Maybe you live in Europe, but are fascinated by the Native American way of life or a particular tribe from this country. Were you raised Catholic, but identify more with the Hindu religion? When I was a little kid, I could go into a deep hypnotic trance just by rocking in a chair or swinging on a swing. Finding out that I lived in an ashram in another life and was a monk in several lives surprised me at first because, well, I don't live like a monk now. But it makes sense on how I was almost born knowing how to meditate. Being curious, open, and welcoming of all cultures is perfectly natural. It's when we're so drawn to another culture or want to be a part of it that it may be a clue to our past lives. Number 5, dreams. Do you have a reoccurring dream? Do you dream about a person or a place that you don't know in this life, but seems familiar somehow? How does this dream make you feel? Happy? Content? Do you feel a sense of longing, like you're missing something? Do you feel afraid or have a feeling of dread? A young woman came to me who had a reoccurring dream about an old wooden staircase. The dream was always the same, her walking up the staircase, but the feeling that came with it was so overwhelming that it bothered her so much and she couldn't figure out why. In a past life regression, she went back to that life and saw the same staircase from her dreams. She was a young girl named Emily with a cold and angry mother. One day her little brother fell down those stairs, broke his neck, and died instantly. The mother blamed Emily because she was supposed to be watching him. She was put on a train and sent away to live with relatives. She never saw her mother or that house again. She died feeling rejected, unloved, and full of guilt for something that wasn't her fault. After that past life regression, this woman never dreamed of that staircase again. dreams can be a powerful way our past life memories are coming through to us. Number 4, scars and birthmarks. I've met many people who never really thought too much about a scar or a birthmark until they remembered a past life where they suffered an injury or even a mortal wound in that same area. A birthmark you're born with can be residual energy from a past life. Scars that are from an injury or even surgery at a particular age in this life can coincide with a wound sustained at the same age in a past life. A man who came to me remembered in a past life being stabbed in the throat by his own brother. He recognized the brother as the same brother he has in this life, and who he has a very strained relationship with. That night when he went home, he noticed a faint scar right at the base of his throat where the knife had gone in. He said it was odd because he'd never really noticed it until then. Of course, not every mole or freckle is significant or has a deeper meaning, but your physical body can hold clues to your past lives. Number 3, gifts and talents. Are you really good at something that comes naturally to you? Maybe you love to draw, paint, or create art with your hands. Are you an athlete who excels at sports or just loves to play? Do you have a fascination with science, math, or astronomy since you were a kid and always wanted to know more? Do you spend hours practicing a musical instrument because you want to, not because you have to? We've all heard of child prodigies or geniuses that seem to come out of the womb with extraordinary talent. Amadeus Mozart was playing instruments at the age of 3 and composed his first music when he was only 5 years old. Rock legend Eddie Van Halen took piano lessons when he was 6 years old, but was never taught to read music. He would watch recitals of Bach and Beethoven and just copy them. He learned guitar on his own and spent hours developing his unique and groundbreaking sound. Some call him the greatest guitarist of all time. If you have something you're really good at or just love to do, it could be coming from a past life. Number 2, a place. Is there somewhere you've always wanted to visit or a site you've always wanted to see? Maybe an African safari is on your bucket list, or seeing the Great Wall of China. Maybe you've always wanted to visit the Egyptian pyramids or visit a Scottish castle. Here's another question. Have you ever gone to a place you've never been to before, but when you got there it seemed so familiar? My husband Bob was in high school when he first read the essays of Ralph Waldo Emerson. The summer before college, he hitchhiked with a friend to Concord, Massachusetts, just so he could visit Emerson's hometown. When he got to Concord, he was amazed that he not only knew which roads to take, but when he got to the house and went inside, he could identify the very spot that Mr. Emerson hung his hat every night. A few years ago, during a past life experience, Bob found out how and why he knew Mr. Emerson. Our lives can remind us of where we've been, who we've known, and what we still might miss. Number 1, food and drink. Do you loathe bananas? Do you wheeze every time you see a piece of wheat bread? Did you fall in love with Thai food the first time you tasted it? The foods and drinks you love or hate, and even the food you might be allergic to, can be traced back to your past lives. Maybe you died from eating rancid or even poisoned food. Or maybe there's a certain food that's a trigger of an unpleasant memory from the past. A woman who came to me who experienced a past life regression would climb banana trees and gather the bananas for the people in her village. It was her job, and she was very proud of the fact that she was so good at it. One day, she fell out of the banana tree, and even though she survived, she was paralyzed and never walked or worked again. She felt she lost her purpose because she couldn't contribute. Afterwards, this woman told me that in this life, she can't stand the sight of a banana and can never understand why. Many times, there's a life where they were starved to death or were punished for stealing food when they were hungry. Beliefs about what happened can also cause weight issues where maybe you eat too much or not enough. A woman recalled another life where she was a young boy with no family who hid as a stowaway on a ship. When the ship landed, he wandered for days trying to find work and a place to sleep. He became so hungry that in desperation he stole a loaf of bread. He was apprehended and hung for it. He was 9 years old at the time. This woman afterwards confessed that she had always struggled with what she thought was a food addiction. She felt she couldn't control how much she ate, especially during stressful times. Afterwards, that night, when she was clearing her kids' dinner plates, she started to do what she always did every night, picking up all the leftover food from the plates and popping it into her mouth. But this time, she heard a voice in her head saying, "It's okay, you have enough," and she put the food down. She realized that when she overate, there was always this fear of not having enough. Your drinking choices may also go back to a past life experience. Wine, beer, and alcohol have been around for thousands of years, initially as a type of medicine and also to purify the drinking water, which was usually contaminated. Our beliefs about alcohol and how or if we consume it can also go back to past lives. If it's truly an addiction, it could be due to trauma that you're still dealing with at a subconscious level. It can be a way to dull or diminish memories and true feelings. Whether it's enjoyed with friends or on its own, it might be bringing back positive or emotionally charged memories. Warriors who gathered courage before a battle and who used it to celebrate afterwards. A sense of community and fellowship felt at a pub or gathering. Even ceremonial use for religious rituals and marked life events. I remember being a monk in one of my lives who lived high in the hills in a monastery. We brewed and sold a special liqueur whose recipe had been handed down for several generations of monks. The money we made from selling it helped to keep the monastery going, where we could assist the poor and needy who would come to us seeking food and shelter. I have a vivid recollection of sitting at a long table outside, laughing and toasting a new batch of that wonderful elixir with my brothers. In that life, we worked hard and we suffered at times, but I remember it being joyful and a very fulfilling life. Our past lives can tell us so much about who we are now, our likes, our dislikes, our talents, and our gifts. We're all here to experience the many facets of life here on earth. We're here to learn, to grow, and to love. If you like this video and want to learn more about past lives, please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, I'm Barb Angelo.